everyone, me again. So today I'm doing a bit of a collab with some fellow gun channels, specifically the Blind Sniper, 8mm Mauser Man, Arasaka Type 99, Joe Morgan, and Gary Gunderson. I think that's everyone. If I forget anybody, I do apologize. Everybody will be in the description below. But in any case, the theme is to discuss our favorite cartridges, basically one from the category of, kind of emotional, sentimental perspective, and one from a strictly practical perspective. Naturally, to start off with the sentimental option, I'm going to have to go with 7.62 by 54 rimmed. Like many other people, I'm sure I'd be surprised if I'm the only one that mentions this cartridge in one capacity or another in this collab. But for me, of course, it was a gateway drug into surplus and firearms in general. Remember back in 2009, I was still kind of in my university days, didn't have a whole ton of money, and this friend of mine says, "Hey, do you want to go shooting?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good time." Before this, I was kind of into history a little bit, but I never really owned guns or anything like that. Anyways, it ended up being a blast. I was like, I got to get in on this myself. So the very first firearm I ever bought was actually a Russian M44. It was like $89 at the time. And back then, of course, ammunition would have been, less than $100 for one of those spam can, 440 round tins. So you could do a lot of shooting for not a lot of money. In our town, we kind of have this Goodwill that's, it's not like a proper Goodwill. It's one of those where like everything is just disorganized in troughs because maybe it wasn't like nice enough to sell it at a proper Goodwill. And so we'd get these frying pans that were, in just grotesque condition. You wouldn't use them for cooking, at least not food. But, those would be kind of informal 100-yard gongs and stuff like that. It was just good times for not a whole lot of money. And, even to this day, as a result, really, there's not much that evokes more joy than firing 7.62 by 54. So I'd say, hands down, my favorite cartridge as far as, and it's not impractical either, by the way, but from a kind of a sentimental / kind of emotional appeal standpoint, nothing even comes close. And for my practical choice, perhaps somewhat controversially, 7.62 by 39. I say controversially because people would probably argue 5.56 is more practical. I don't want to rehash all the ballistics arguments. They've been had a million times over by now for over the last decades, really. Availability you could make an argument about, but I don't think 7.62 by 39 is going anywhere. I know that kind of current events make the situation a little tenuous, but there are so many AKs, so many SKSs and other 7.62 firearms in the country right now. The market will provide eventually one way or another. It's not like it's 6.5 by 53 rimmed where there's like 12 people in the entire country that have these rifles and 6 of them are just like one giant fat guy. Now, they're everywhere. The market will provide, so I'm not too worried about that. Ultimately, what tips the edge over for me for 7.62 by 39 is if you get a quality AK or a quality SKS, which most every SKS is a quality SKS, they just run with like pretty much everything. You don't have to worry about, hollow point versus full metal jacket or steel case versus brass case. They just work and work and work, and that ultimate reliability is really what kind of kicks it over the top for me. With 5.56s, it tends to be, you really kind of have to be, there are some that will run with most everything, but there are also a lot of and perhaps even most, where they're a little bit picky for one reason or another. So I would have to say that that's kind of what wins it for me as far as practical cartridges. It's also, of course, a lot of fun. That's really it, I suppose. Thank you for watching.